Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the Nidecker Escape Plus. That's right, the big brother to the regular Escape. This board has good old-fashioned traditional camber, so from contact point to contact point you got that arc of traditional camber. That's going to give it the load, pop, snap, and drive. If you don't know what traditional camber is, I can't help you. This board is available in 152, 156, 159, 159 wide, 162 wide, 162 extra wide, 165 wide, 169 extra wide. I rode this board at Copper Mountain on a sunny bluebird day. There was warmer temps. You had ice, slush, chunder, chop, hero snow, basically a mix of all conditions, and I rode it with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. This is your standard run-of-the-mill all-mountain freestyle flex to it. Softer tips that stiffen up midway back to the inserts through the middle with an overabundance of torsional flex. And when it comes to stability, you feel everything in it. There's a lot of chatter in the tips at high speed. It resonates back underfoot. And even when you're flat basing, it's one of those boards that, while it's not overly damp, it's not overly lively, you just sort of prepare yourself to get bucked around when you get into choppy terrain. With this board having Nidecker's Pop Carbon Plus and being full camber, when you load it up, you're gonna get some snap out of it. Now, it's not the snappiest thing I've been on, but it's noticeably more snappy than its regular counterpart. So you do load the camber up and it's a little more aggressive to load up, and I mean just a little bit. So you load it up, you roll back onto the tail, it springs, you snap, you're in the air. It's one of those boards that you have to be slightly calculated with to pop, but not overly calculated, which means you can be a little more laid back when you're hitting a side hit or popping off a roller or something. Now, when it comes to jumps, I wouldn't go right to the big line with it, but small to medium-ish features, you're not really going to have a problem with it. It's going to be able to throw itself off the lip, or you can load it up and pop. The reason I say don't go to the big line is the tips are too soft. They'll wash out, in my opinion. They just don't have that stability when you really set down on the tail if you're taking it a little bit deeper. This board is designed to be in the air. You can feel that with the rebound, but it's also not the snappiest board out there. So it's like one of those boards for people that are like, I'm just learning park, I'm going to figure this out. So this board's actually highly butterable. Even with that camber profile with carbon in it, it doesn't fight you. It just sort of lets you know that it's there. So when you're out on the nose or the tail getting sideways, spinning around, it'll let you spring right back out. So if you pop a 180, press into that nose, you're holding that butter, it's going to spring, you'll be able to pop right back out, swivel it back around if you need to, and carry on with your way. That's the nice thing about it. It's one of those boards that, for those of you that know how to butter, it's not going to be a problem, and those of you that are learning how to butter, you can still handle it. When it comes to jibbing, it locks into presses, and you still have that snap there, so when you hit the end of the feature, you're going to be able to pop out, which is great, because if you ride a resort that's got those just rutted out landings, you can launch over it. And when you go sideways, it sets down and hugs the feature, and you just feel it envelop itself right around it, and it slides. It's not going to clap out, but it's also not a balancing act on it. It's like that right blend of camber and flex that just hugs the feature. Now, they make a claim that this is a carving machine, and I just started laughing because it's anything but that. It kicks out on edge. It just doesn't have that edge bite for a hard carve on it. You can do setup turns, that's for sure, and you can do medium mellow carves, that's fine, but carving machine, the second you go to lay this over, you realize the limitations. It just wants to wash out. It can't handle anything more. That's not what it's actually good at. It turns, yeah. It turns fine. It just doesn't rail carves. It just does not have that grip that you would expect. And that's fine. It is what it is. I mean, if you want a board that can turn and ride all mountain, sure. But if you're trying to lay hard carves over all the time, it's not going to happen. That carving machine marketing, it's bullshit with this. Who's this board for? The camber-loving all-mountain freestyle guy. So it is mildly stiffer than the regular Escape, and I do say mildly, like most people probably really wouldn't notice it unless they were actively trying to pay attention to it. And at the end of the day, it's a snowboard that does snowboard things. Is it something that stands out if I had to choose? No. Is it going to be the worst thing that I've ever ridden? No. It's just a middle-of-the-pack board that gets the job done. And there's plenty of boards like that out there. This isn't anything that's revolutionary or mind-blowing. Comparable boards, the Ride Shadow Band, the Battalion Whatever, the Solomon Assassin. Binding recommendations, the Nidecker K-On X, the Rome DOD, the Ride C6. This has been my review of the Nidecker Escape Plus. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Are you going to buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this snowboard. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.